So I spent my Saturday morning, which was yesterday, recording a 3-hour, 3-part series for this car, and it turned out to be garbage because I couldn't figure out how to get the car to do what I want until basically the very end, which means the whole series did not need to be 3 hours long in 3 parts, obviously. So I'm making this new video, and I've already got the settings because I already made the video, or I already made the settings in the previous video that I deleted. I recorded it, but I deleted it. And these are the settings. I'm gonna, oh, whoops, here we go. Let's go through it. I'll explain it after I go through it. Front suspension, whoops, wrong button. Rear, differential, which is only a rear differential, it's a rear wheel drive car, brakes, and transmission. So the transmission, let's start with the transmission since I'm already here, is limited because of the finite gear spacing. So let's compare generations, WRC generations, to Gran Turismo 7, the transmissions that is. The Gran Turismo transmissions are basically infinitely adjustable in the ranges. All you have to do is pick a speed at which that gear is functional at, and it's even labeled in the game. And it's very easy to do. However, this game, it only adjusts in increments, as you can see at 6th gear, of 0.1. So 0.1 up, to 0.1 down, and so on. And that severely limits what is possible with the transmission. And so this is basically the only functional, at least in my view, gear spacing and values for this car. It doesn't have very much horsepower. It has a lot of grip. So it needs the torque. It needs to have the gear ratio at around 5.4 and this 6th gear around 1, a ratio of 1. And it's basically limited to almost this thing. There could be some slight variations to this setup for the transmission, but not very many. Anyway, that's the transmission and the suspension. So the biggest problem I had with the car was that there's so much grip and the engine's in the back, so the weight's in the rear. There's so much grip in the back that I could not get it to oversteer except lifting off throttle. And the only way I could get it to oversteer anywhere else, or it'll oversteer on the brakes, but basically it'll push on throttle. The only way to get it to not push on throttle was to reduce the front springs to minimum in the front, and then heavily damped for this low spring rate. It could be over damped, over critical damped, I don't really know, but it's very close to critical, maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit under. And the rear is very stiff with stiff dampers. So even just lowering the rebound damper, it was at 5 when I was driving it. I was trying to do each individual component separately, and I left the damping alone until last. That's why I figured out everything at the end of the video, or the end of the series, is that the only way to get to oversteer is to make the rear end quite stiff, and not just the spring rate, but the dampers as well. And with a spring rate of approximately 10 kilograms, or 100 newtons per millimeter, I was going to say, this is probably not critical damped. It's probably around 70 to 80% critically damped at this value here for the damper, both front and rear, compression and rebound, not front and rear, but compression and rebound. And I think that explains that. So I'm going to do a drive real quick with these settings, and then I'm going to try and make a more preferred setting. So this setting will oversteer very, very slightly on throttle. What am I on? Softer asphalt, yes. And it's a manual transmission. So the clutch and H pattern.
18? Flat right tightens into left 5 short, into right 5. Into kink.
So as you can see, it's very slow.
50.
I'm in 6th gear and it's barely moving
Square right,
compared to
cut,
the
30.
rally spec cars.
Hard brake, square right, and left 3, and right 3 at junction, 150.
See if I can get it to oversteer. There's some oversteer on throttle.
2 tightens. Into right 4, into left 5 short, 30.
Oh, a little fast.
And right 4, brake for square left, don't cut. Right 4 and left 3, keep into right 3 short.
So with this car, it revs to 9, but you want to shift at around 8,500 to 8,000 RPMs. It loses power beyond that point.
And left 5 into right 4, don't cut, narrow, long, 50.
And I'm not really pushing, so there's some oversteer there.
Caution, right 4.
There's that off throttle oversteer.
Long, tighten 3,
Even with,
cut,
oh,
50.
slow down. Even with the locked differentials, or differential, whatever you call it.
Caution, hard brake, hairpin
Some
right,
throttle
15,
oversteer.
30.
Block shift at first, handbrake. I'm not very good at the handbrake
Left
turns.
3 tightens, don't cut, and left 5. Hard brake into hairpin right, 30. Left 2, cut.
Block
open.
shift again.
Into square left, cut, 30. Flat right, 80. Caution, hard brake, square right, small cut, 100. Square right, don't cut, 80. Flat left into right 4 and left 4. Keep into right 4, tightens, long and flat left.
So it's really sketchy in these high-speed sections because lifting off throttle causes oversteer with the soft front spring.
Flat left.
So it's kind of better to stay on throttle than to lift off throttle.
Short, narrows and right 4. And left 3, tightens, 80.
So I could make 6th gear a little bit longer,
100.
but then it'll be basically non-functional.
30.
There'll be not enough torque to get up to speed anywhere else.
Right 5 short into left 5, 50. Right 3, 30. Left 5, hard brake into square right, 30. Into left 4, 200. Right 3 and caution, hard brake for square right. And left 3, 30. Right 5, hard brake for hairpin right, 150.
Oh, a little too fast. Just kept it from hitting the barrier.
Caution, hard brake for hairpin left, 200.
So I block shift into first
Right 3,
because I need time to move my hand from the gear shifter to
hairpin right,
the
30.
handbrake button mapped on my wheel.
Left 2, don't cut, 30, over flat right,
This is-
to finish.
Fairly wide here. So here's that throttle oversteer in second. So it barely throttle oversteers. It doesn't have enough power for how much grip it has. And I need to adjust the cambers. I haven't messed with the cambers, even in the 3-part series, the 3-hour 3-part series that I deleted. Let's go and restart. I'm going to adjust the cambers, which I'm going to look at the cambers right now. And where is it? Suspension. Camber. See what 5 it looks like in the front. That's too much. Let's go to 2. That's too much. I don't know. It's pretty good. I think 1 is probably fine. Okay. And then the rear, I'm going to adjust to 1 and see what that looks like. The rear tires are really wide, so I don't want too much camber in the rear. Let's see, let's check what 2 looks like. Two looks like quite a bit for how wide the tires are, that is. I think that's fine. It's not too much. It's noticeably less than the front. The front looks pretty close to 3, maybe even 4 degrees, which might be excessive, but it's the only increment I have. It's either 0 camber or 3 degrees of camber, depending on the determined by the setup limitations. And the rear seems maybe around 2 degrees, hopefully less than 2 degrees is what I'd like. I'm going to change that. Yeah, I'm going to change it actually. I'm going to reduce the rear camber back. Oh. I'll leave it at 1. Okay. So I just drove the car with these settings. I'm going to save it. I just changed the cambers. And now I'm going to, let's see, try different settings. So the car only oversteers, like, drastically, that is, when lifting off throttle or dragging the brake or trail braking. So I don't want as much oversteer that it has in those situations, but I do want the throttle oversteer, which hopefully I'll try to find a way to keep that throttle oversteer, probably with stiffer dampers in the rear. So let's take a look at the rear suspension. The spring rate is around 10 kilograms or 100 newtons per millimeter, and that's pretty reasonable for this kind of car, with the spring rate being directly on the center of the tire. That is, like, that's what the measurement is at. It's not, there's no motion range that I have to calculate for that value. So if the shock were actually simulated in the game to be mounted in around 50% of the travel of the rear swing arm, then it would have a motion range of 50%. But because of the way the game simplifies the physics, so it's easier to calculate in the hardware, they virtually mount the spring simulation to be directly over the center of the tire. Okay, so that being said, let's see. Leave that where it's at, and I'm going to increase the front to 9. See what that's going to be like. And to get a more informative experience out of this next drive, I'm going to also increase the dampers, because I still want the dampers to be around 80% critical damping, which I'm not going to be able to tell what 80% is, but for this kind of car, it's going to be fairly high. Probably around, like, not 100%, might be 10 to 12, or not 10 to 12, but at 10,000 actually, is that what it is? Yeah, 10,000 to 12,000. I'm going to go to 9,000, which is, I think, the same as the rear. Yes. So I'm going to try that. And I need to lower the front ride height as well. Save that. So the front is riding high right now. So let's see, suspension, 13. I'll lower it to 13 and see what it looks like, because because it's close to the same spring rate as the rear. Maybe a little bit lower. Oh, 11. Maybe even lower. 9. All 9s, except for the camber and the anti-roll bar. Close enough. All right, I'm going to save that. Oh, whoops, I did not mean to save that. I meant to save as. Let's change that back. Okay, and now the ground clearance was 16. And that should be the same. Okay, save, and then do it all over again. Go to 9. Go to 9. And 9,000 here. And then this was 11 or 10. Oh no, it's 9. That's right, I had all 9s. Okay, save that. Save as this time. It's going to be T102. Okay, now I'm going to give that a drive. I hadn't changed anything except for the suspension. The differentials are the same, and I'm going to see if it has excessive push on throttle.
80. Flat right, tightens, into left 5 short, into right 5. Into kinks, don't cut, hard brake, 50.
Still has a lot of throttle oversteer, or not throttle, but lift off throttle oversteer. Just from driving that little section there.
Hard brake, square right, and left 3, and right 3 at junction, 150.
Whoa.
Right 5.
Has some throttle oversteer in third gear.
Into right 4, into left 5 short, 30.
A little bit slower here this time.
And right 4, brake for square left, don't cut. Right 4 and left 3, keep into right 3 short. And left 4 into right 5, 80. Caution, hard brake, square left, open. And left side into right 4, don't cut, narrows, long, 50.
Some throttle oversteer there. Very little. It's very non-responsive.
Caution, right 4. And left 6 long, tighten 3, don't cut, 50. Caution, high brake, hairpin right, rock in, 30.
Oops. Made the same mistake there as I did last time.
Tighten, don't cut, and left 5. Hard brake into hairpin right, 30. Left 2, cut, opens.
A little bit better.
Into square left, cut, 30, flat right, 80. Caution, hard brake, square right, small cut, 100. Square right, don't cut, 80. Flat left into right 4 and left 4. Keep into right 4, tightens, long and flat left, 80.
Oh.
Flat left into flat right, 30. Right 6 short.
There's not a lot of torque in 6th gear, so it's reasonable to not get oversteer on throttle.
Tightens, 80. Left 5 short, 100. Left 5 very long, tightens, 30. Right 5 short into left 5, 50. right 3, 30. Left 5, hard brake into square right, 30. Into left 4, 200. Right 3 and caution, hard brake for square right. And left 3, 30. Right 5, hard brake for hairpin right, 150. Hard brake for hairpin left, 200.
So the game has automatic downshift blipping. So even though I have the clutch in and I'm on the brakes, so both feet are occupied, right? One on the clutch, one on the brake. The car automatically blips when you can hear it every time I downshift.
30 over flat right into finish.
When I'm block shifting on the brakes. Whoops. So that's pretty good. It doesn't oversteer on the throttles as I'd like, but I can always lift off throttle to make it oversteer. So I'm actually going to try to increase the suspension again. The front, that is. Let's see. I'm going to go to 11. I'll leave that at 9. Should be fine. Might have to change the ground clearance though. Probably not. Looks fine. Alright. Let's see.
80. Flat right tightens into left 5 short into right 5. Into kink, so cut, hard brake, 50.
Again, still a lot of lift-off oversteer, which is typical of a Porsche.
Hard brake, go right, and left 3, and right 3 at junction, 150. Right 5, hard brake.
Some throttle oversteer.
Into right 4, into left 5 short, 30. And right 4, brake for square left.
So the steering feels a lot better now with the stiffer front spring. It was very light.
3, keep into right 3 short.
The steering was very light with the soft front springs.
And left 4, into right 5, 80.
Whoa, a little bit of push.
Caution, hard brake, square left, open. And left side, into right 4, cut, narrows, long, 50.
Understeer, which is nice. That's what I'm going for.
Caution, right 4. And left 6 long, bottom 3, don't cut, 50. Caution, hard brake, hairpin right, rock in, 30.
Struggling to get on power because it's starting to push a little too much.
3 tightens, don't cut, and left 5. Hard brake into hairpin right, 30. Left 2, cut, open.
See if I can do this properly this time. There we go.
Into square left, cut, 30, flat right, 80. Caution, hard brake, square right, small cut, 100. Square right, cut, 80. Flat left into right 4 and left 4. Keep into right 4, tightens, long and flat left, 80.
A little bit of push.
Flat left into flat right, 30. Right 6 short, narrows and right 4.
Whoops. Almost, I just money shifted.
Tightens, 80.
Like there's a 7th gear in here or something.
Left 5 short, 100. Left 5 very long, tightens, 30. Right 5 short into left 5, 50. Right 3, 30. Left 5, hard brake into square right, 30. Into left 4, 200.
Oh.
Right 3 and caution, hard brake to square right. And left 3, 30. Right 5, hard brake for hairpin right, 150.
Good throttle oversteer in second gear. So there's enough torque to get the oversteer.
Caution, hard brake for hairpin left, 200.
Car's easier to control through these handbrake turns because it doesn't rotate as quickly with the as it did with the soft springs.
Hairpin right, more cut, 30. Left 2, 30 over flat right into finish.
A little bit of push. So I have two settings now. That one has a little bit of push, maybe a little too much. I prefer this one over the other one because it's easier to drive everywhere else because it's not as oversteering. But yeah, I just like this one over the other one. But I'm going to go over both settings now. So this one is the oversteer setting. Suspension front, rear, differential rear, brake bias, and transmission. And now the one that has a little bit more understeer. Whoops. Suspension, front, rear, differential, brakes, and again the transmission is the same and everything else was the same. I'm going to make another adjustment just to see if it's... Oh, this is the front. I want to do the rear. See if it makes it oversteer a little bit better on throttle. And do a last drive and record the replay.
Flat right tightens into left 5 short into right 5. Into kinks, don't cut, hard brake, 50. Square right, don't cut, 30. Hard brake, square right, and left 3 and right 3 at junction, 150. Right 5, hard brake, into left 2, tighten. Into right 4, into left 5 short, 30. And right 4, brake to square left, don't cut. Right 4 and left 3, into right 3 short. And left 4 into right 5, 80. Caution, hard brake, square left, open. And left 5 into right 4, don't cut, narrow, long, 50.
There's some throttle oversteer.
Caution, right 4. And left 6 long, tighten 3, don't cut, 50.
Just wants to push.
Brake, hairpin right, rock in, 30. Left 3 tightens, don't cut, and left 5. Hard brake into hairpin right, 30.
I could try clutch kicking.
Left 2, cut, open. Into square left, cut, 30, flat right, 80.
That clutch kick kind of works.
Caution, hard brake, square right, small cut, 100. Square right, don't cut, 80. Flat left into right 4 and left 4. Keep into right 4, tightens, long and flat left, 80.
Honestly, I don't think the change made a big difference. And I don't want the rear suspension to be super stiff.
Flat left into flat right, 30. Right 6 short, narrows and right 4. And left 3, tightens, 80. Left 5 short, 100. Left 5, very long, tightens, 30. Right 5 short into left 5, 50. Right 3, 30. Left 5, hard brake into square right, 30. Into left
And it's
4,
slightly
100.
more oversteery than I'd like now with the camper change I made.
Right 3 and caution, hard brake for square right. And left 3, 30. Right 5, hard brake for hairpin right, 150.
Oops, a little too tight. Let's put it in reverse.
Caution, hard brake for hairpin left, 200. Right 3, 150. Hairpin right, small cut, 30. Left 2, don't cut, 30, over flat right into finish.
Let's see if it'll over throttle here. Slight bit. It was pushing a lot more on throttle with the previous damper settings. So anyway, let's watch that replay. There's that throttle oversteer. But like I said, it's very difficult. There's so much grip on the rear tires that it's very difficult to throttle oversteer this car. It's possible in first and second gear, and in certain situations third gear, but you have to enter the corner with a little bit of extra speed and kind of pitch it into the corner. And once the car's already sliding, it'll throttle oversteer. kind of embarrassing. I could take it out of the video, I could edit it, but I'll just leave it in. And that's that. Till the next one.